Let's get some Diddy talk out of the way.
Let's do it.
Closing
It's all I ever talk about anymore if you've listened to the podcast.
Yes, you have been covering this week after week.
Yeah.
Closing arguments are unfolding as we are sitting here right now. What is your prediction of where this is going to end up once the jury deliberates? I need to watch closing arguments. It's super important. How they tie everything together, but prior to seeing that, because we're working today, I would say they definitely have them on possessing people on 2 of the charges. I believe one of the sex trafficking charges, yes. The other one, no. I think Rico is going to come back hung okay in your coverage of this. Safe to say you've been a little disappointed with the way the prosecution presented this case. I was hoping that we would get to this day and not have so many people asking so many questions and not really understanding or knowing how it's going to go. You hope to get to this day pretty certain. Yeah, you want it to be a slam dunk. The defense essentially chose not to give any argument. Diddy didn't testify. The prosecutionists, since in their jury instructions said, maybe don't pay attention to these charges, focus on these ones. It was simplifying how they're to look at the specific charges. So if you put a lot of options for attempts of this, that it starts to confuse people. You want to try to make jury instructions as simple as possible so that you aren't getting confused people that then can't make a call. You don't want to actually have a hung jury at the end of the day. It's a lot of money and it's a lot of time to do this again. There were rumors or speculation that you would testify. Yeah, there was even somebody that said there were statements about my emotional journey all the way to the stand. I read it was really intense. Was that ever a conversation? Were you approached at any point by the prosecution to take the stand I spoke? With Homeland Security when this all was developing, and you were told to keep that to yourself, and that anyone can be summoned. And I wasn't summoned, and by the time, knew that I was not going to be summoned and trial had started. I then felt comfortable coming forward and being able to address the trial, just the trial specifically, because I have participated in another project that will make more of my own personal story clear to the world. Okay? Do you wish you had been summoned? That you could get your day in court and lay out everything that you've been holding in for 20 years. Not on these specific charges. I sure do wish I would have seen a whole lot more of the enterprise on the stand, though. Because I definitely saw an enterprise, and it really bothers me when people say, it's just this one guy, and he may not even be tied this one, and this one that was named may not have even when. I was there. I saw a whole lot of people. Your bandmate, Dawn Richard, did testify. What kind of conversations have you had with her, if any, about that, when? I was contacted in regards to, a claim that was being made about, something. Somebody witnessed in regards to me. I had no recollection and was scared and reached out to all of my band members basically to ask them if they could recount any of the details that were given in the statement. And so I reached out to Dawn at that point. She was the only one that didn't call back, and I made it clear to everyone, regardless of how we stand in this moment on any business level, on any level emotionally, or I like you today. I don't like you tomorrow. Whatever. I'm usually the one that has always talked to everybody. I'm the only one. I said, now's the time to put all that to the side and we need to remember where we started, and we started this together, and I need us to talk. And if you're not a bad person, and if you are the person I think that I knew during the time where we grew up together, I need you to call me back. And she didn't, but I did speak with everyone else. That's disappointing to hear, especially if she's taking the step to go up there and have that conversation for the world to hear. So you would think she would, to drop an entire lawsuit on many points that all of us went through, long hours, not getting paid for any of our work, starving, losing weight, deteriorating, witnessing criminal, etc. So what has the conversation then been with the bandmates you are in contact with about this? So everybody's different. I'm obviously closest with Shannon. Shannon wants no part, so I'm not going to bring her into the interview because she doesn't want any part, and I'm not going to give her a part if she doesn't want it. But she's aware, and watch it, she's understanding it. Some of my bandmates were very confused. Dawn's lawsuit hit, and all of us were confused by that because we didn't know that she was participating in any sexual behavior to please Diddy if he is found guilty on at least something. How does that make you feel? I'd feel best if he was found guilty on everything, and if he walks free, I don't have that in the range of my possibility thoughts right now. I don't believe that that would happen. If it does, though, I'm going to buy a ticket to Bali like I did the last time. I couldn't do this country anymore, okay? I was going to say, do you fear it all for your safety or what life looks like if he is back out in the world? I fear for the messaging that we're going to be giving any newcomers in the industry. And by the way, entertainment is the one that's glamorized, and that stands out the most, let's say. She's the it girl. Politics is a little bit over to standing right on our neck, but we're representational of everybody. The people you see on TV, you can like or not like. You probably have your favorites. I definitely should be one of your favorites. Hopefully, but I'd probably mirror back to you when you watch me things that you really resonate and feel in your everyday life as well. We're all just people experiencing things at the end of the day, so, I would be very scared as to what type of messaging this would give people about relationships and behaviors. And what you can get away with when you're powerful and I'm sure this gave a lot of people that maybe are unstable new ideas for sexual behaviors. I'm really wanting to make sure that everybody is highly aware of how vast and wide the response of this jury is going to read for everyone. You might think you're detached from it and that you're watching an entertainment show of those entertainment people that have nothing to do with you and your everyday, but you'll be surprised how quickly it does so. Your fear more so lies in the repercussions this has for the wider industry and less about did he come after you. Yeah. I mean, if he were to walk free, he's coming after everybody. Yeah. And in my opinion, I would feel very comfortable suggesting that there would be a lot of danger out there too to be had and felt. What would your message be to him if he were to come? I have not one thing I would ever want to say to that human being ever. You call him a human being, though. I think he's a human being. I think hurt people hurt people. He lost the plot, but I also think that a lot of dark things were done to him. And I think his entrance into becoming somebody may have exposed him to a lot of the things he exposed other people to, which would suggest that there's a pretty dark situation going on in the industry. You found out that the feds had arrested Diddy while you were filming this new show, Botched Presents, Plastic Surgery Rewind. Yeah, that's wild that cameras were up to capture it. What was it like to live through that with a camera following you? God. I didn't even see any of the camera. It was such a surreal moment. We were all outside and my phone was blowing up. I mean, I was shaking and tapped my phone. I just couldn't believe it that morning. I woke up and I was just like, it's not going to happen. This is the window because like anything, there are windows in timing for every industry, including being federal officers. You probably don't drop indictments around holidays. If we were coming up on a holiday, there were just certain things that I felt like if it were going to happen, something would be happening. We all knew the movements that were happening behind the scenes. And I just told her they didn't do it. They couldn't get it done. And then I walked into scene and it happened very quickly. And, I'd say it's like an earthquake. And then the aftershocks. Yeah, were insane. I started to see the shockwaves amongst everybody. I don't have any feelings of, vindictiveness. I don't want to see him go away if he didn't do it. I want the prosecution to prove their case, and it's a mighty case, and those are mighty charges and their 95% conviction rate. And for all of the 80+ civil suits that are on standby, I don't know any time in my lifetime, and tell me, in yours, you're probably younger than me, though you look younger. I don't know in my lifetime that I've seen any other. This is one of the biggest celebrities in our game. I don't think I've seen somebody this big in such an established industry like music. It's reality TV where you just expect people to be weirdos. This is the music industry. It's a difficult place to be, and you've got to be talented. And he was on such a pedestal. Very big pedestal. He's a billionaire. was that I've never seen that level of person be in a federal trial on sex trafficking, which is a very difficult charge to prove, ma'am. There aren't a lot of sexual crimes that are prosecuted at federal levels because it's just such a difficult thing to prove when it comes down to consent, and then that can give you a full understanding of how coercion looks. Most people can't even say the word properly, let alone understand how simple yet complied.